Deploy to the wrong server once, and you'll be quenching fires all week. Let's make sure that never happens. Hey folks, I'm Forge Barrett, master of the Content Forge here at SchemaSmith, and today we are going to be talking about the Product.json file. In a schema quench package, a product is the master blueprint, the jig that keeps every strike on target. There are 4 core properties to every product. Name is the maker's mark etched into that jig, so everyone knows exactly which part they're forging. ValidationScript checks the metal you're about to hit. Wrong alloy. No quench. Template order lines up every change in the right sequence. Toss in script tokens, and you've got adjustable dies for any environment. I've got an empty database set up and ready to go. Let's kindle this forge and get to work. I'm running on an M4 Mac Mini. Because Schematongs and Schema Quench target the .NET Core runtime, Mac developers are welcome in our ecosystem. I'm also running SQL Server 2019 on Linux. I am running this from the Docker Compose file we have in our demo repository. There will be a link to that in the description of the video if you want to follow along. In the Database Explorer, I have one empty database named Client1. The product file is the entry point for the update process. The schema package path in the app settings file defines the path to the Product.json file. Let's run Schema Quench and see what it does. You can see from the output that one of the first things the process does is to validate the server. Let's see how that is done. The ValidationScript property is the key to making that happen. It's your gatekeeper for the update. The script defined here determines whether the update will run against this server or not. In this case, we're running if we see a database named Client1. Let's change that and make it Client and see what happens. The update failed with a validation error. There's no database on the server named Client. This validation script can be as restrictive or as lenient as you want it to be. The only stipulation is that there is a scalar return value that must be a bit. That is 1 for valid or 0 for invalid. What about the other properties we skipped over? Let's look at the name property. Let's examine it in detail. The name property uniquely identifies your product. Schema Quench decorates every table and index with an extended property containing the product name. The first time Schema Quench runs for a table, if the extended property does not exist, it puts it on the table and trues up the structure to match the definition. If the property already exists but it's for a different product, an error will be raised. A table can only be owned by one product. This allows teams to deliver microservice architectures or different products to the same database at different cadences. Only one product can own and update a table. If there is a table with an extended property on it for the current product, but that table metadata is no longer being delivered, Schema Quench will drop the table. Enterprise customers have a custom drop and restore hook for this process, but that's a topic for a future video. Extended properties are also added to indexes. There is an implicit property on the product named DropUnknownIndexes that defaults to false. This is to support incrementally getting schema under version control for environments where there's an extreme amount of drift. Note that we honor that setting as best we can. If there's a change that requires the index to be dropped and it is not defined, it will be dropped and not put back on until it is defined at a later time. Template order is an array listing out the sequential order that templates are updated. To use an object-oriented metaphor, a template is like a class, and a database is like an instance of that class. A template defines what the database should look like. You can have multiple databases that share the same template. This will be the topic of our next video. Finally, let's take a quick peek at what a script token is. Currently, we have ClientDB script token set to Client1. I can substitute the hard-coded reference in the validation script to use it like this, and we see that now Schema Quench runs successfully. 2 things this gives you. First, this variable can now be used here and in any template.json file. For enterprise users, script tokens are usable everywhere. Secondly, At runtime, the script token can be set like any app setting environment variable. If certain environments have a name defined differently, it can easily be set and referred to once, keeping your code dry. Product is your blueprint for a safe, repeatable deploy. With a product in place, Quench won't quench unless validation passes. Miss the mark? The hammer stays holstered. Hit it? Every template runs in order. Clean, controlled, no surprise sparks. Subscribe and stick around. Next time we'll forge deeper into templates. Until then, keep those sparks flying and your schemas in sync.